Hayes. To my left is my co-host, Bob Paden.
Good afternoon.
Across the table from us today is Lauren Taylor with Holder Mattress Company. She is the owner and president.
True story.
Welcome.
Awesome. So Holder Mattress Company, it's been around in Indiana. It's kind of an icon and a staple. Tell us about what's current today.
Yeah, so we are 77 years old, and my grandfather founded the company, and I am the third generation owner. And it has, we've been through it all. We've seen it all in the last several years. And so, yeah, we're just keeping it going.
Cool. So in the mattress industry, what are the secrets that the public doesn't know about?
Oh, how much time do you have?
We got all
I always joke that, I know the things about mattresses.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know the things about mattresses you don't want to know. Our industry is interesting, especially because over the past several years, so much of it has become an import industry.
Sure.
So not just raw materials, but the actual products themselves are now being imported. In fact, you have U.S. steel that's being exported to then be turned into mattresses and be imported and somehow still sold at retail for less than I can build one that's made here. So our industry has been majorly affected by Chinese dumping, by those same companies now trying to sort of find loopholes by, exporting to Mexico. And so we're sort of fighting a much larger battle in building mattresses than ever before. And so that's huge. Flame retardancy has been a huge burden on our industry that wiped out a lot of local manufacturers going back to 2007. So it's been an interesting few years.
Yeah. Go down that.
What do we not know?
This is a rabbit hole. Okay, so there was legislation passed. It began in California. Go figure. That mattresses needed to be more flame retardant than they had currently been. And so this legislation that was passed meant that stricter requirements in a cigarette burn test.
Sure.
So we're protecting the people that are falling asleep in bed with lit cigarettes. That's literally the point of this, right?
Preventing Darwinism.
Yes. It's the helmet law of mattresses. So essentially, you have to hold a blowtorch to a mattress for 20 minutes, and only a certain percentage of it can burn. And
surely those chemicals aren't harmful to humans.
Right. In order to accomplish that, there are ways to do it, but most of them involve antimony trioxide, boric acid, known carcinogens. Right. But, it'll protect the smoker. So there's that.
Right.
Because we are in Indiana, and Indiana basically requires us to adhere to the federal minimum, we don't have to pass as stringent of burn tests as a national brand that's sold in all 50 states.
Okay.
So I cannot sell my mattresses in California. I can sell them in Arizona and they can ship them across the border on their own, but I can't sell directly to California because they have the strictest guideline. But that also means that I can use things like wool, low melt polyester in lower lines to achieve the same federal minimum standard without having to add all the nasty stuff to the mattresses to make them good enough for California.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yes. The, most healthy, natural state of them all.
Do you miss California?
Not at all.
Exactly.
No. Really expensive to ship out there anyway.
Sure.
Didn't have a lot of business from that area. But for us, because we build our products, we're not just selling them. I'm as concerned about my employees that have their hands and faces and the materials on a regular basis as I am about someone who would sleep on it. So.
And where do you build them?
Kokomo.
Right.
Yeah. Just a jog north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it always been in Kokomo?
It has always been in Kokomo.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's a long story, but the short version would be my grandfather and his brother got back from World War II, needed a job. They were from Oklahoma. They ended up getting into the automotive industry and that was what brought them to Kokomo.
Okay.
And a layoff, basically, right away, sort of forced them into finding other ways to make ends meet. And they had a friend who taught them how to repair mattresses. Because at the time, steel's crazy expensive. Sure. People aren't buying, so they're repairing.
Right.
And that led to them building a couple of their own. They got a good order from Grissom Air Force Base.
I know Grissom.
That resulted in like $1,000 profit, and the first store was born.
Right.
So the legend is like $1,000 and 6 rusty springs later, we had a business.
Right.
For the first several years, they did laundry.
Did those come with tetanus shots?
Exactly. No one cared about that stuff back then. But they did laundry to kind of make it work, and then
Sure.
eventually it grew legs, and here we are.
Right.
That's
so
fantastic.
you guys have always had a reputation for quality and particularly customer service and really taking care of your customers. Where did that mindset get born from?
Oh, my grandfather, 100%. That's how I was raised. It's you're building them for your neighbors. These are the people that you go to church with, that you meet at the grocery store, that your children are friends with, so you want to build the best thing you can for your neighbors.
Sure.
And so it was, not skimping in the process at all. Everything was done by hand, each layer individually attached. It was making sure that the quality of the raw material we're purchasing is the best that we can. And we still do that. I still go above and beyond to find raw materials that are either made here in Indiana or at least made as locally as possible.
Sure.
Whether it's, close states, our furthest material comes from Connecticut.
Okay.
So, we really are focused on the raw materials and making sure that everything is as local as possible and that it's the best quality we can get. We still build a 2-sided flippable mattress
Okay.
because
That's
you'll
pretty
keep
unusual.
it a long time if you
Sure.
have that. But
Right.
if, I could have been like everybody else and said, yeah, it's one-sided. That's just the way it is.
Yeah,
Deal with it.
We'll see you in a few years. Right?
Exactly. But if you're going to come back in 3 to 5 years, you don't need to come to a boutique sort of operation like mine. You could go anywhere.
Sure.
So if you come to me, you will see me less, but you'll be happier with your product. So that's the idea, and that's what we've stuck with. And he was adamant about that when I was a kid, and so I was just raised knowing that was the right way to do it.
Yeah. So what are some unique considerations that people should consider, like to find a quality bed that, fits them and fits their sleep style and helps them, recover during the night?
Yeah, well, I first would recommend actually being able to try that product in a store. There are so many bed in a
Speaking of that,
box and
where are you guys
online.
located? Are you still in the design center in
Yeah,
Carmel?
yeah.
okay.
We have a location in Carmel in the Indiana Design Center, and we have a location in Kokomo off US 31 across from the Kokomo Mall.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So, we do have local locations, but I think it's good to come in and try it. You're going to spend a third of your life, if you're lucky, on it. And, you want to make sure you put some time and effort into actually physically trying the product.
Right.
Sure.
The way I could describe it or the way you could be described it to on a website would give you some idea, but that doesn't really tell you how it's going to impact your body.
Right.
So if you can try it, that's number one.
Okay.
Number two is comfort. It's got to feel good. It's got to feel good. So even if it doesn't have all the features you're looking for or isn't going to last as long, if you love it and you want to sleep on it, you would buy it more quickly without hesitation.
Sure.
We occasionally have people who buy elsewhere and aren't happy. And so instead of buying what is comfortable, they want to buy something that they think is going to last. So I've got to talk them out of that.
Interesting.
Just because you bought a bad one doesn't mean that pillow tops are wrong for you.
Right.
Right? Let's get you a good one because that's what your body really needs. So there's that. I also think that a good conversation with a knowledgeable salesperson,
Okay.
which I would say in any industry is tops, right? If you can talk to somebody who really knows the product, really knows the market, really can help you connect the dots,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of bad information on the internet. You could become
No.
a great researcher with a lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
So instead of, relying on your own research, talk to someone who's in the industry, who's done it for a long time, whose purpose is to help you.
Okay.
So if you can spend some time with the salesperson, really talk about how you use it, how you sleep, things like that's important. It's
Sure.
part of your life. Our goal as salespeople is to make sure that you have the product that you're happy with, that you tell your friends about, that you write a great review for.
There you go.
So, that's what we're looking for. I'm not trying to meet the price point you want to spend. I'm not trying to meet the Labor Day sale you're trying to take advantage of, right? We want you to have this product for 10 to 15 years. Let's find
Sure.
the right one, but let's have a conversation and let's do it organically.
Sure. So what's that like when maybe a buyer of a previous mattress in a box walks in, right?
Yeah. Well, usually those are the easy ones because
Okay.
they're already upset
They're
with the
already
competition.
comfortable.
Yeah, so they're looking for something different.
Yeah.
The harder sales are the people we've had that are, they're happy, but they think maybe they're missing out. Maybe there's some new technology or something. They've bought into enough marketing that they've, those are harder, I guess, to sell to.
You mean the space age materials that have
So what does an ideal client look like to you?
Yeah.
And how do they come to find out about Holder Mattress?
Well, we have a lot of people who have always known about us, right? So we've been around so long that we have a reputation for quality, we have a reputation for local, we have a reputation for great service. And so people seek us out, or there are people who've never slept on anything else, whose families have always believed in our product. So those are great because, we don't have to sell them on who we are.
Yes.
But outside of that, I am looking for someone who is ready to make an investment in their health, right? Who are really concerned about how they're going to use this product, what benefits it offers to them, and who are willing to open up and have an honest conversation about what their needs are, what they're looking for, what they're currently dissatisfied with. It is very rare that someone just doesn't have a mattress at all, right? Typically you're shopping because you have a product at home that's not meeting your needs. So let's talk about that. So someone who's willing to be open and have a conversation and really just spend some time with us and actually lay down on some beds in the store and get comfortable and talk about how it feels.
So once they came in and pick out a mattress, I'm presuming you deliver it and take their old one away?
Yes. Yeah. So typically the process is you come in, we try some sets, we figure out what works for you. We talk about some options you have for those sets, some different customizations and things that are possible. And then we will build your set for you after you've ordered it. So you typically
And what's that lead time typically?
Depends on what you order, but if it's standard, it's usually maybe 2 to 3 weeks on average. Okay. But we're going to build it from scratch and we're going to make it exactly the way you want it. And then our staff that builds also is the same staff that delivers. So they make sure that it is properly installed, that they're, set up for success from the beginning. We make sure that everything's well supported at home. We go through all of the fine print, if you will. It's not all that fine in our particular case, but we want you to know what you're expected to do as far as use and care and things like that. So we'll kind of go through that whole process with you, make sure that you're happy with everything before we walk away. We might remind you a few months down the road to flip your mattress, right? Make sure that you're keeping up with it. But it takes a couple weeks, but a fairly quick process based on the amount of time you're going to have it.
Cool. So what was your entree into the business?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that I was never supposed to be here. Sort of. Yeah. So I went to college with the idea that I was going to write the next great novel. I have a creative writing degree. I thought I'll just travel to Europe and write a book. And, then I realized no one was going to finance that project for me. And I didn't have a way to finance it myself. So the summer of my junior year of college happened to also be a transition time for our business. The people who were running it at the time were not my parents, but part of their, one of my mom's brother and his family, who was sort of running the business at the time. They were sort of going through some personal stuff, right? And in that happening, they sort of let the business kind of fall to the side. And so my 21st birthday, there was a meeting where my parents had to sit down and decide whether or not they wanted to save it or if we should just let it go. And I said, well, I'll do it. I'll do it. I was raised in that factory. My mom and dad had a job. I would go with grandpa to the factory. I knew the ropes. I thought, I'll do it.
Sure.
And they tried to talk me out of that because they knew more than I did, right? But I was gung-ho and ready. Yeah, it was like, do anything else, really. That would be great. But I jumped in head first and, didn't care that there wasn't much water in the pool. I thought I'll figure it out. And so my senior year, I went back and took some marketing classes and some business classes and tried to sort of really quick teach myself how to run a business.
That's great.
What was I thinking? And then, I just dove in and I spent, as much time as I could get away from class my senior year working in the store in Carmel. And I fell in love with it.
Jumped in.
It was my first baby and I wanted to be there all the time. And I loved every moment of it.
So what year was that?
That was 2003.
Okay.
Yeah, summer 2003.
So 21 years.
Yeah, that's when I jumped in.
So does it seem like that long? No.
Yes and no,
No? Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. 20 years seems like a long time, but also some days it feels like it's been a long time. I mean, that's the life of a small business owner,
Sure.
right? But yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think looking back, it feels like, yeah, we've spent some time doing it, but it also kind of feels like that time has flown by.
So what would your now self
Yeah.
tell your younger self after
Probably
20 years of
What my
experience?
parents told me, and like, do something else.
Really?
No,
So
I mean,
that's the self-reflection you've come to.
yeah, now I understand why they said that, right?
Sure.
For sure. But you
Do you feel like you've missed out on something by, just going along with the family legacy and you weren't able to express your full creativity or
not necessarily. I think that it has enabled me to do a lot of things that I want to do. There's a lot of creativity that comes to running a business, right? So I've been able to sort of exercise that a bit. It is the reason I met my husband. It's the reason I have children. It's the reason I'm still close to my parents. It's provided a lot of great things in my life to this day. It provides me the flexibility to leave the office and pick up a kid from school or come do a podcast or whatever. So it has provided me with a lot. It has taught me a lot. And yeah, I mean, I'm still crazily a little bit in love with it. So
that's awesome.
That's great.
So when you think back over the last 20 years, what are 2 or 3 of the keystone moments for you that were either hard or easier than you thought?
Oh man, there have been some big ones. So 2007, the flame retardancy thing, that was really hard. It was an era where I was new in the business. I was only a few years in at that point, and it wiped out a lot of businesses. There used to be mattress manufacturers.
So what was it about that wiped out a lot of businesses?
So the legislation essentially changed the way you can build your product. So you've been building your product the same way for years successfully. Now all of a sudden you're forced to buy materials that are a lot more expensive. You're forced to find a way to put those materials into your product that also you have to have feel a certain way at the end of the day. So being able to redesign everything in that way. And then you had to pay thousands of dollars to burn every single product you sell so that you could be certified and be allowed to sell it. Wow. So I have, for example, I've got 30 sets, right? Yeah. I have to burn each one 3 times, and it costs about $3,000 to $5,000 to burn it.
Wow.
And we got to send it to Michigan to do that because that's the closest place. So 2007 was a massive financial burden on businesses, and that's why just a lot of them
burden, right? You had to
absolutely
change the process in which the manufacturing was taking place.
That could change the whole
educating the workforce.
Yeah. So that was huge for our industry, and that eliminated so many.
Were there any aspects of that do you think that were actually helpful to consumers?
No, not one.
Wow.
It made your products more expensive to build. So that made the quality of the product go down, because if you're a big guy, you're a Tempur Sealy, whatever, you couldn't afford to just take all that on, right? And so you had to make your product try to cost about the same amount, even though you had to add these more expensive materials and all of the expense that comes with the burning.
Right.
So in doing that, mattresses became one-sided.
Right.
That's it. That's what did it. At the end of the day, that's why you have just one-sided products that don't last.
Simply reduce the cost to allow
because we had to find a way.
Right.
And so they said, well, if we just eliminate like 40% of the raw materials, that would do it.
Yep.
And so now box springs are foundations. They don't have steel in them. And now mattresses can't be flipped. But hey, bonus for you, the consumer, you don't have to flip it anymore. It's that new technology, right?
Yes, quicker, right?
Absolutely. Don't worry about that part. We'll still be here. We'll sell you another one.
Rule of unintended consequences.
Yes. So we intentionally didn't cheapen our product.
Right.
And so that was
and
really
have you kept
hard
box
to
springs as well?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Wow. Yeah, because that's the shock system for the mattress.
Right.
So if you have an inner spring and you put that on a wood foundation, your inner spring does all of the work.
Right.
You put it on a box spring, all of that tension from those coils is released into those stronger box spring coils. So like go back to your physics class, right? That potential and kinetic energy. That's how that works. So if you take that shock system away, you're reducing the lifespan of your mattress. You're changing the feel of it. It's like buying a new car and putting old tires on it. It'll
Right.
still get you from A to B, but your mileage changes.
Right.
So
And your comfort.
absolutely. So that cheapened our industry. It cheapened the quality of products. It made it more difficult for little manufacturers to compete with big manufacturers.
Sure.
And that was a huge turning point in our industry. That was the introduction of dangerous chemicals into your product. That was a huge downfall for consumers.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So what do you think?
That? No,
Yeah,
sorry,
what
go
do you think as far as the industry over the next year? Is it status quo for the industry, or do you think there's other things that are going to happen or are happening in your industry that?
Well, so I guess there are other things that we are dealing with now. So it's sort of surviving that COVID, which was
no problem whatsoever. Right?
Yeah, it's fine. I tried to lobby staying open, because mattresses that's a requirement.
It's an essential
right?
item.
It's an essential. I thought I was essential. As it turns out, I'm not essential.
We still can't levitate while we sleep, I don't think. Right?
No.
Yeah.
I think it's essential, but nobody else agreed with me. But so in that and having supply chain issues and all of the legislation that came with anti-dumping got reversed in the last administration. Like those are the sorts of things we're dealing with. And so what that bred over the last few years, for example, there's over 200 online only mattress companies.
Sure.
Online only.
Yep.
You can't walk into a store and try their products.
Meaning they vacuum seal it, full it in the smallest boxes possible.
Yeah, and hopefully it fluffs itself up when you unroll it.
Right.
So over 200, right? Ask me how many manufacturers build those products.
2.
4.
Oh, wow.
4.
That was close.
And one of them makes over 70% of those products.
Wow.
But, you can spend your money at lots of different places.
So lots of marketing.
But there's endless names.
Yes, endless names. And so that was a huge impact on our business that people started relying on. I can order a mattress I've never tried or seen in person and have it shipped to my home. And generally people keep them,
sure.
right? And a lot of people don't learn the lesson that, that bed in a box place was awful. Let's try a different bed in a box place. So, I think the drive of this generation of consumers for convenience has destroyed good manufacturers.
You bet.
And that's probably a trend that we will just see continue.
I hope not. I hope it starts to reverse.
Yeah, I hope not. My generation is trying to go back to, the 1900s or something. Like we're baking bread and raising chickens.
Yes,
so
correct.
Maybe it'll all come full circle.
Hey,
I hope so. Yeah.
That would be good.
That would be great. That would be great to be self-reliant. But I think we really need legislation that cuts out foreign entities from taking over this market. I think we need to support small manufacturers. We need to support anyone that's building a product at all in the United States.
Sure.
Because it's so hard to do that.
Yep.
And we really need to rely on ourselves more. And I think the global climate just echoes that more and more every day.
Yeah.
And I think, consumers need to be more savvy about how they're spending their money and how they're consuming in general, right?
Sure.
One of my favorite things is the plastic straw debate.
Yeah.
We are very concerned about plastic straws. Like I had the number of paper straws that have just gotten soggy in my cup.
Those aren't straws.
Those aren't the best.
They're
Not that those
chemical
don't actually require more energy than the plastic straws.
Correct.
But that's another podcast, right? We are very concerned
Let's
about
not talk
plastic
about
straws.
the amount of fossil fuels needed to run electric cars either. Let's
Right.
just
Yes.
ignore that fact.
Yeah, if we probably shouldn't get into the EV conversation with me because you're not prepared. But
That's all right.
we are so busy fighting this thing that the media has told us is a problem, but we are not paying attention to the thousands and thousands and thousands of units annually that are being imported that are still petroleum-based products, that are still plastic products like foam mattresses that are being dumped here that people keep for 3 to 5 years on
Chuck
average,
them out the door.
and then they end up in our landfill.
Yep.
And some states are paying recycling fees and recycling lobbyists, but there aren't facilities to recycle them.
Right.
And there are federal regulations about what can happen to a product like that that's been in your home longer than 45 days. So at that point, they're worried about communicable diseases, bed bugs, things like that.
Yep.
And so like the ability to do something with those products in a donation capacity has gotten extremely limited.
Correct.
And in fact, if we were going to donate a product, we would have to recover it and heat treat it. And we don't have the capacity to do that. So they just end up in landfills.
Wow. What?
But, plastic straws are a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Look over here.
Nothing like a king mattress.
So what do you see happening, in the next 5 years in your industry then?
Well, it'll be interesting. I think what happens in November is important.
Sure.
Election years are always weird for anyone in sales, but I think we can go one of two ways, and I am concerned that we will stay where we are.
Yeah.
For my industry, there has been, in my lifetime, one president who has fought for our industry. One. And, I will elect him again in November.
Sure.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, it's not about whether you like him or it's not about that. It's for my direct impact on my business, for direct impact on my industry.
Sure.
One of them supports U.S. manufacturers and one of them doesn't. One of them enables us to sort of level the playing field. One of them doesn't.
Sure.
And if I can't build something for, half of what the retail price is of something that has been shipped here overseas, and do the math on that,
Yep. Landed cost. Yep.
something's wrong.
Yeah.
And businesses like mine won't survive. And it won't just be our industry. It's the cabinet industry.
Oh,
it's
sure.
the furniture industry. It goes on and on and on and on and on. And everyone who used
But
to build
meanwhile,
something.
the consumer is the one suffering at their own hands.
Yeah,
Yes.
unknowingly.
At their own
Yeah.
So we're worried about
decisions.
plastic
Yeah.
straws, right?
Exactly.
I love that.
So, I hope that there is a reversal of the policies that were reversed a few years ago, and we start working toward, building manufacturing in America, made in the USA. And made in the USA, that means something.
Yeah.
By the way, not just the label you paid for.
It wasn't just a
But
symbol
the fact that it really was
Yeah.
made here, because my products have always been made in Kokomo. But more importantly than that, they are made of products that are made in Indiana and in surrounding states.
Gotcha.
We don't leave the U.S. for anything.
How
We
many
don't have
employees?
to.
How many employees do you have?
10.
10?
Yeah, we're small.
Well, you guys do a lot of work with only
That
10
is
people.
We do.
awesome.
We've got 2 stores, so we don't require a lot of salespeople. We have, like I said, our staff that builds them also delivers them on
I'm
opposite
shocked.
days. So
That is awesome.
They are literally hand built. We have a couple of guys who build every single product. It is built exactly to your specifications. These are not mass assembly lines,
Right.
and
Right.
these are sewing machines. And a guy sitting at a machine building each component of your product by hand. It doesn't take that long
Right,
to do.
sure.
On average, it probably takes about an hour to build a mattress, but yeah, it's important. We do
That's
it the right way, and
really
it doesn't require a lot of us to do it.
Sure.
So let's
Yeah.
dive into some differentiators.
Sure.
Yeah. So tell us how you're different than Tempur-Pedic and a box mattress.
Well-
I mean, I know those are 2 different
Yeah.
animals, but take us through that.
Yeah, outside of what I've already said, right? The fact that you can flip it, the fact that everything is made here in the US, the fact that we're going to make it for you. So if you need a slightly off size or a different shape, or something custom for an antique bed, we can do all of those things.
Neat.
If you have sensitivities, allergies, health concerns, we can work really well with that in a way that just your average mattress
Sure.
store lineup won't be able to help. I think that's big. I also think the fact that our staff is factory trained.
Okay.
Right. So you're not talking to a salesperson who got a spec sheet and a kickback and this is what we're doing.
It showed up from the mall the
Absolutely.
day before. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our staff has to go through the process. You have to train in the factory. You have to build a set because
Nice.
there's only one way you're going to know, and that's to experience it. So we want them to go through our process so they know exactly what we do and why we do it, and that's what allows them to sell it. And my staff is not commissioned. They sell based on what you need, not based on what they need, period. If you need a starter set for a kid's room, that's what they're going to sell you. If you need a master bedroom set that you don't want to replace for 20 years, then that's what they will sell you. So their cash isn't dependent on you. And I think that's really important to have staff that have the goal of the consumer, not the goal of, their own paycheck.
Sure.
So we do that differently as well. Everything we do about the product. So the fact that each layer is individually attached. Nobody does that, but we do that because
so why do you do that, and why do others not do that?
Others don't do it because, one, staples are expensive. That's
Takes
just
time.
another layer of expense that goes into the product. It costs a lot more time to do it. But if you don't do it and that mattress is ever stored on its side, or if it's on an adjustable bed base or something, then all that foam kind of starts wrinkling and pushing together. It won't be a body impression, so it won't be covered by your warranty, but it will make you uncomfortable.
Right.
So we individually attached every single layer because that's the best way to keep it in like new condition for the longest.
Sure.
So everything we do, make sure that you keep it for a long time. Just like having box springs. We put box springs in that set because that is the difference between having it a few years and having it over a decade. So it's all those things that we do that you can't see that have led to the reputation that we've had for so long. It is the reason people keep coming back because they don't have to worry about the quality of the product. All they have to worry about is finding the one that they like.
Right.
Nice.
And so what are those typical options when they come in? What are they, how would you size someone's needs and take them through your store and show them the options that they can consider?
It does come down to how you sleep. That's important. If you're a stomach sleeper versus a side sleeper versus a back sleeper, if you are having a medical issue, rotator cuff issue, or acid reflux, or you require a CPAP machine at night or something, those health aspects are part of our conversation as well. How often you move in the middle of the night. If you're someone who moves a lot or gets up a lot and you sleep with a partner who doesn't want to feel that motion, or if you are a shift worker, that can change what we might present to you. If you've had a bad experience with a product, not ours necessarily, but any product, we want to have an idea of why that is and what we can do to make sure that doesn't continue to persist in the future. We'll have a conversation about the bed you're going to put it on, whether it's a metal bed frame or a bed you had in your family for many years. I want to make sure that the foundation of where our product sits is going to be adequate as well. So there's that. We have a conversation about maintenance. Some people, I had a sale to an 89-year-old woman the other day who's not going to flip that mattress. But is, excited about the fact that we offer a service where we will come to your home and we will flip it for you so that you can still have the product you want. You can still have the quality that you desire, and we will take care of the maintenance for it.
So what is the life expectancy? Does it vary by which set I purchase?
It does vary by product and by usage, right? So the set that is entry level for kids is not going to last quite as long, or the set that you put in your guest room may not be the quality, but it might last a long time because it gets very little use. So it does vary. But on average, I would say 10 years is a good reevaluation point.
Okay.
Many of our sets considerably outlast that. I talk to people on a daily basis who've had a set of ours in their bedroom for 30 years. It's finally time to replace it.
Wow.
Yeah, that happens way more than it should. It's not the best business model, I'm going to be honest. But the end of the day, we have to take into consideration what your usage is going to be, what your expectations are going to be of it. But generally, we would say at 10 years, we need to think about it.
Sure.
Still good, still meet your needs, nothing's changed, great, keep it. They don't have expiration dates. They're not going to self-destruct at any point. You can keep it as long as it still meets the needs. But at 10 years, your body has changed, your lifestyle may have changed. So that's a good time to kind of think about it.
I like that though. But I mean, I know you feel like you're giving up by not selling it at 10, another one. But it would be fascinating to know how many of your clients that go beyond 10 refer.
Yeah.
Right. And that continual referral loop. Because I know if my mattress lasts that long, I'm telling somebody. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want people to do. Yeah. Please tell your neighbors, tell your friends, bring them in with you. When somebody asks, remember our name. Awesome. So we have I mean, I would say the majority of our business is referral,
Sure.
either existing customers or word of
You
mouth.
bet.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch gears a little
Go
bit.
for it.
How about you personally? So tell us about you.
Why do you want to know?
Married children. You said married
Whatever
children.
you want to share.
Right, whatever you want to
Yes.
share. What do you enjoy
Married
doing
with
outside
children.
of work? Those kind of things.
Yeah. So
That's also a TV show. Folks.
it is.
Yes.
It was a good one. I watched that show. Grateful I don't sell shoes, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah. So I am married. I have been married for, oh gosh, let me think about this. Since 2008. We'll do that.
There you go.
Just about the time of the industry.
The one crash.
was
Yes.
changing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And to a wonderful, incredibly intelligent man who
Well done.
Yes, he's excellent. He's a unicorn. I'm very grateful to have him. He is now in business development, and he's also in city council, and he is on a million boards and volunteer organizations, and he's really smart and loves to give of himself. So
Awesome.
yeah, I'm incredibly blessed with him. And then we have 2 kids. We have a son who is 9 and is in 3rd grade. And we have a daughter who just turned 5 and is finishing pre-K this year.
Gotcha.
So,
Awesome.
And what do you like to do in your spare time?
oh man, spare time.
I know you
that's
got a
that's
little
a
bit.
concept. There's not a lot of it.
Other than transportation, I suspect is involved in
Yes,
children.
yes, that's true. I'm doing a lot of chauffeuring
Oh, yeah.
at this point. I think that, our spare time, right, is just really time that we want to spend with the friends we don't get to see enough, the family we don't get to
Sure.
see enough. There are different categories of people, and we are volunteer people. My
Okay.
next door neighbors are project people, right? They're always doing a new project. He's building something, gets some concept, and then actually will
All of a sudden, there's a new deck in the
manifest
backyard.
it.
Right?
It happens.
Yep.
Yes. We are not those people.
Okay.
We are hire people for projects people because we are not gifted in that way, but we are volunteer people. So we don't know how to say no.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So whenever there is an event, a group, a committee, a sign up for, we're the
You're
people
on
who
it.
sign up. We can't help ourselves.
Has it always been that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that kind of a family thing as well? Like your grandfather and your dad, and
I don't think
did they
so.
do that or no?
No.
I don't think so.
That's a uniquely long
I actually think that's something I maybe inherited from my husband because he was always, as soon as someone finds out that you're young and you're willing to volunteer for
You bet.
stuff,
Oh, they're all over it.
they tap you for everything. And
Well, yeah.
I used to give him a hard time about it, and then I just kind of started joining him.
Sure.
And so now we do that. And so there's
That's
always an opportunity to jump in at church or at school or a meal train for a friend or a committee that's started and they need more members so we do a lot
Once they find out that you truly care and that you can do it, they're all over you. Yeah.
And we get a lot out of that too.
Yeah.
That serves a need for us to serve others. So yes, we do a lot of volunteering and a lot of sign up for committees and just extra things.
Sure.
We're very involved from a city level in Carmel, and so if there's anything we can volunteer for, we tend to
Pretty
do
active
that.
city,
So
right?
It's very active, and we have been very involved for a long time.
Sure.
And so we tend to busy ourselves with those sorts of things. But if we can totally escape,
That's what I was going to ask.
nothing
If it's
else
totally
going
quiet.
Yeah.
on, we're probably camping. We're camp
Yeah.
people. We like to camp.
Tent or camper?
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
With a mattress.
So
my husband
You
and
say
my children.
camping, but it's more like
Yes,
glamping. Is that what it is? Okay.
Yes. How about I will stay in an RV? My husband
With-
and my
with-
kids will sleep in a
with
tent.
AC?
I don't have to do that.
With
Yes.
AC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And we have 2 big dogs. We have 2 labs that
Oh, yeah.
that bring their magical
Join
shedding
us.
for
Yes.
everywhere they go. They come with me to work every day. So there are dogs at the store. If you dog people stop by,
Oh,
they
cool.
love to have friends come visit. Yeah, so we're with the dogs or with the kids, or if we just have time, we're gonna go find a park and camp and
Nice.
hike and kayak and do those kinds of things. We love
So
that.
what's one of your favorites that comes to mind? That a park
The
that
place
you
you've
like
been
to go?
to. Yeah.
Oh well, that's tough.
Like Turkey
because we've
Run,
got
Spring Mill, McCormick Creek.
we like
Idaho,
McCormick's Creek.
you know.
Chain of Lakes is
Oh, yeah.
great. We did family camp this summer.
Okay, what's this?
Something my husband dragged me to because it sounded awful. But it's a Spring Hill camp, which a lot of people around here send their kids to
Sure.
in the summers. And they did a family version. And so it was everything you think of for summer camp. It just included the parents.
families.
Okay.
And it was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
It was awesome. Yeah.
I bet you volunteered.
Mudslide hill.
Yeah, it was, zip lining and, jumping off these diving boards and archery and games and crafts and all the stuff you associate, the campfires with s'mores at night. It was wonderful. And that's
neat.
Spring Hill is in Seymour, Indiana. And that facility is amazing. It's beautiful out there. It's been really, really well preserved. I'm going to get this wrong. The Rust family, maybe. He just ran for office, or tried to run for office. Anyway, his family, I guess, originally kind of owned this place. And so it has become this like Christian camp for kids.
Nice.
And they had a family version. That was a lot of fun. So that was cool.
That's
that was
neat.
Cool. But like, just to go to a park for a day, like Flowing Well in Carmel is really cool. That's a great place to hang out. And then Meadowlark is really neat too. But like my kids like to fish. I don't want to fish. I'll watch you
But they
fish.
like to fish.
Yeah.
They
So
like
your
to
husband,
fish.
does he like to fish?
He loves to fish. I
Okay.
don't like to touch fish. I don't really want to touch worms either.
Yeah.
So, but I will
They
sit
make gloves.
there
You
and I
enjoy
will
watching them enjoy it, right?
watch. Yeah. Yeah. So, we like to be outside. We like to enjoy all that Indiana has to offer.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So the most important part of our podcast, how do people find you?
Find you.
Oh, well, easy.
What's the best way for them to
Best
find
way.
you?
The best way is to stop into a store, right?
Yeah.
So whether you're in Kokomo or whether you're in Carmel, come see us in right off 931 or in the Indiana Design Center, which is right in the heart of
Range
Carmel.
Line Road, right?
Range Line and Main,
And by the way,
right
like
there.
the parking there is great.
Yes, they actually
We
have
are-
places
It's
to
a
park.
surface lot. You can actually find a spot
Yes.
to park. It's
And not drive in circles.
Not just that, but the well-kept secret is we have a parking garage. It's under the building.
What?
I
Yes.
didn't know that either.
And it's also open all the time. And it's also free parking because it's Carmel. So there is
don't sweat the
garage parking
That's right.
there.
Don't sweat the parking spot.
Yes,
Zionsville.
yes. If
Yeah.
you're coming to something in Carmel in the evening and you're worried about parking, the IDC
that's
is the best
fantastic.
place to park. Whether it's underground or service lot, there's always parking there. So it's a great place to know about. But stop in there and see us, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram.
And
or
generally, what are your hours?
Monday through Saturday from 10 until 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.